So hey guys, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So tonight we're going to be discussing the little incident that happened with Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth Petty. So it's Carnival season, and Carnival is a part of the Caribbean culture, and it's just a time of cultural celebration as many Caribbean natives have their own carnival, one of the most popular being the Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. As we all know, Nicki Minaj is Trini and traveled back to her home country with her husband Kenneth Petty to celebrate and join in the festivities. So she wore this very elaborate and bomb-ass costume, and she looked really good. Like, she really did slay the hell out of her fit. So what has people talking is this, I guess you can call it, mini altercation her husband had with Iwer George, who is a popular soca music artist. So in this video clip, you see Iwer George try to engage with Nicki Minaj, and he brushes past / tries to move her husband as he is jumping around and getting lit to his song. Now, I think because there is a Nicki Minaj hate train, people are really gassing this one. From the video, anybody, and I mean anybody, would have done the same thing that Kenneth did. I think I can give fairness when it's due and call out malarkey, but all of y'all would have done the same thing. I'm not sure why Kenneth is even being dragged or even talked about when Iwer was jumping all around, bumping him, and then tried to grab at his wife and engage her. Now, I don't think Iwer was necessarily wrong either for having fun, because that's the point of Carnival, but yes, he was kind of moving and bumping and doing a whole bunch of jumping and whatnot. Now, I will say this, Kenneth, it is hot as hell on them islands. Not only that, but it's a daggone carnival. You need to be jumping around and down and enjoying yourself and all of that. Like, he just standing there like a British soldier while everyone else is laughing and dancing and having fun, which I found kind of funny to look at the video. It's like that one person that just stands there stagnant while everyone else is doing the swag surf at the college party. So I think the internet made this news for no reason, and I think anyone would have done the same thing and reciprocated the nudge like Kevin did. So I broke down my video into 4 main talking points, so let's get right into this video. So point number 1, this is not that serious. Honestly, this is not that serious. Somebody's husband pushing off another man is not news, okay? And it's also not something to get mad at him about. Iwer George said it himself that he did what any husband would do. Iwer posted to his Instagram and said, "Carnival Tuesday, I was at the Soca-drome singing with Yuma, and shortly after they crossed the stage, a young lady came up to me and said, 'Michelle is calling me to come on the Tribe truck.' So out of respect for all the bands, I took off the Yuma shirt and proceeded to climb on top of the truck in a white vest. However, my manager told me it does not look proper to go on the truck in a vest. So I asked one of the music guys to give me his shirt. I took the shirt and went on top of the truck and proceeded to sing my song. While singing, I was trying to engage Nicki Minaj to sing the song. I truly feel that her husband did not know who I was, as I was wearing a Tribe Music t-shirt, so he may have thought I was a part of the sound system group. Nicki's husband is not familiar with Trini culture, so he did what any husband would do, and that is go into protection mode. We all know in Trini a man must protect his wife, so I didn't stress about his actions. I just continued to sing my song. Nicki is our queen, and that's her husband. We love and respect them. All y'all pat down and let them enjoy the rest of their stay in Trinidad." So like I said, Iwer George said it himself that Kenneth did what any husband would do. I also don't think it makes him jealous or insecure. I think you have to be a very secure man to be with a woman who makes more than you as well as has more fame than you, especially someone like Nicki Minaj, who is an A-list celebrity. Oftentimes we tell young women that they don't need a man, focus on themselves, level up, and all those phrases that mean live your best life and collect your coin and be happy. And in some cases, we do have a lot of hardworking, established, or up-and-coming women who are doing these things. But we turn around and down talk those same successful women for having a partner who isn't as up as those women. I want to briefly touch on their relationship dynamic, because I saw quite a few people discussing him as if he was Nicki's bodyguard on pay, which is actually kind of funny. So Kenneth Petty literally follows Nicki Minaj everywhere. He's in her music videos, and some people think that he's on her payroll, which, as long as he's treating her with love, respect, peace, joy, kindness, and happiness, what's wrong with having your man around while you work? I'd rather him be with Nicki as opposed to balls deep in another woman. okay? Now, within a lot of communities globally, the standard is for men to be the breadwinner, pay the bills financially, and support the household, while women sit around and raise the kids, upkeep the house, and all of that. In a lot of cases, oftentimes the women aren't happy, and even if she is happy, she isn't fulfilled, being that a lot of these women are essentially baby makers and housekeepers. How many rapper and athlete wives do we see sitting around doing next to nothing and in the house all day with the baby, playing dress up and taking pictures? And how many of us support this, stand this, praise them, tell them they secured the bag, when in reality there's nothing that these women do better than a lot of hardworking young women? Then they start a hair, lash, or clothing boutique line financed by their boyfriend or husband, and we buy and support. I'm not saying it's wrong to support a woman whose life is driven and funded by her man, but I personally can only fully respect it when I know that said woman has her own and brought something to the table other than followers and pussy. There's a major double standard, and I think Nicki Minaj's husband probably does get an allowance from Nicki, because I mean, what else do we know him to do? And of course we're going to talk our shit, but what is the difference between him and your favorite rapper's girlfriend that does the same thing? I know there are gender roles, okay, but I don't believe they apply to extraordinary cases where your girlfriend is a super mega star and has more money than you can probably ever get to in your life. There isn't a price on love, and I'd rather him be a paid bodyguard than, like I said, flexing and finessing in the hood and balls deep in another woman. I said what I said. Argue with your granny. I am a firm believer in hypergamy, but I also feel like you do not suppress or sacrifice your happiness and the way in which your partner treats you just because your man makes more than you and has more than you. That's not hypergamy. No matter how many of y'all women want to believe it is, hypergamy is leveling up in all ways, okay? Not just money, in every way, shape, or form. There is way more to a relationship than money. And yes, money and finances is important and it's very major, but relationships have way more complex components than, okay, he makes $100,000 a year and I make $50,000 a year. Now, there are very happy hypergamous relationships, but I think there are way more non-happy ones based on society's standard that basically tells the woman to be baby makers and housekeepers and not really have anything established for themselves. With that being said, in this relationship between Nicki and Kenneth, people are ready and are quick to clown their relationship because of her being that much more of a breadwinner than him. And I've already spoken on this situation. I agree that she did settle, but I just don't believe she downgraded from anything, because there's nothing for her to downgrade from when every man that she's been with makes less than her, career isn't as big as hers, and wasn't as famous as her until they got with her. I just don't believe that this is that serious. I don't think Kenneth did anything wrong. I know a lot of blogs were spinning this as if he did too much or is always so hostile, but I think any man would have been protected over their woman in the same situation. Like, I think it's the cultural aspect of this that had people so quick to call him out. Had this been Jay-Z or Beyonce or even Cardi B and Offset, I don't think people would say anything about a husband lightly pushing another man away from his wife. And as you can see from the video, it was Iwer George who initiated contact with Nicki as well as Kenneth. And I think every person has the right to protect or react to their personal space being infiltrated. I'm sure this is the unpopular opinion, but from watching that video, I don't think it's that big of a deal, let alone I don't think what he did was wrong. It wasn't the most friendly or respectful thing to do, but I don't think he meant any harm doing it as well. Now, point number 2 is cultural differences. I think the main part of this entire thing is the cultural difference. That's why I even wanted to make this video, because with me being a Nigerian but born and raised in America, I feel like I'm always at a cultural clash and see the difference between myself and my peers. I've dated or talked to a few Nigerian guys, but honestly, overall, most of the guys that I've talked to or dated are Black American and don't share the same culture as myself in all ways. With that being said, when you do decide to date someone outside of your race or outside of your culture, you do take on a form of mandated obligation to inform your significant other of your cultural values and customs. The Caribbean culture is very friendly, okay? They like to dance, they like to touch, they like to have fun, and they don't have as many personal space constraints like we do in the United States. Even in European cultures, personal space is not that big of a concern as it is in the United States. I've seen in some European countries, people talk very close to each other's faces. In France, it's pretty much customary for people to kiss one another on the cheek as a way of saying hello or goodbye. But in the United States, we don't mess with people being so close in our personal space. People are supposed to be within arm's reach or further. So I feel as though it was Nicki's own personal error for not explaining to Kenneth what type of culture she comes from within being a Trini woman. I really did not like how she responded back and said that he doesn't know anything about her culture. She said, he don't understand anything about our culture. I apologize on his behalf. He's always in security mode. All love. Love my country to death. Love my people to death. Period. I feel like if you've been dating or married to someone for this long, there are certain things they should know up to this point if they value your own culture. She definitely should have given him the rundown on the environment of a carnival, and she for sure failed in that regard. As a Nigerian girl who values her culture, if I decided to marry someone who is not Nigerian, which is very likely to happen being that I'm in America, that said individual will have to know a lot about my culture to show that not only does he care about me, but he cares about my culture. I don't think the situation was this serious, but I also feel like it could have been prevented prevented if Nicki would have given him a rundown on what may happen at an event like Carnival. I will give credit to the fact that he is from New York, and I feel like a lot of New York people can be very hostile and don't like people in their space. But in this instance, it was a very interesting portrayal of cultural clash, and I found it very interesting to bring up on my channel because in a way, I can relate. I can relate by having to explain that in the Nigerian culture, there are just certain things that we do that maybe Black Americans don't do, and in the Black American culture, there are things that are done that maybe Africans don't do. There's nothing wrong with having differences. It's just acknowledging it and respecting it. Now, point number 3 is Nicki's response. Like I said, I just really wasn't feeling her responses, but I feel like when it came to her response, she did do a bit too much. I liked her first initial response, just basically saying like, this is not how it was supposed to be. He doesn't understand, sorry about that. And I do like that she took accountability. You guys know that's a huge thing with me. And I think her saying something to this was necessary and very much needed. However, when she started talking about some let me go suck his I just feel like that's not necessary. Those things are pretty much implied when you guys are married, okay? This is where people start to talk about Nicki Minaj, and I've always liked her, but I do agree that in many cases she does do too much, or she could be a bit of a tantrum thrower. But overall, I think Nicki's impact not only on the music industry, but the lives of many young women is very prominent, or at least was for a very long time. If we're being real, most of the people who are within my age group, so like ages 18 to 29, grew up listening to Nicki Minaj. She was the only female rapper within this generation for the longest. It's not like in the 90s where there were quite a few female MCs that people could look up to and resonate with. Us 90s born but 2000s raised kids really only had Nicki Minaj as like a major female rapper for the most part. I just don't think she needs to go hard in her responses. Oftentimes I wish she would just shut up and not respond to certain things because she doesn't owe anybody an explanation. And unfortunately when she does, it usually generates more hate for her because of how she says things. A simple apology and an explanation stating, hey, I know all of you guys are up in arms about my husband pushing I Word George, but this is on me. I should have explained to him how my culture behaves at an event like Carnival, and for that I'm sorry and he's sorry too. Moving forward, we'll be sure to have fun and understand the culture. Love you all. Something as simple as that would have been suffice, but it's like she'll say something and most people will rock with it. Of course you're gonna have the people who don't like it, but then she'll keep egging it on, and that's when people start to hate her or drag her. She then said rappers will kill for this attention, which she's right, but she should have just left us with the initial response and hit us with the I said what I said and I meant what I said, and that's that. Now my fourth and final point is the Nicki Minaj hate train. I never really wanted to do a video on this. I like her music, I like her, but it's not that much of a fandom coming from me. But I do think people do hate to see this woman happy, or just at least want to talk about her. Like at one point, Nicki Minaj was very loved, didn't have that many haters, and now she does. Like, where did they all come from? A lot of people argue that it's because of how she speaks on things and how she has a nasty attitude, that they don't like her anymore. And you're free to believe that, of course, but I personally think it's a little bit deeper than that. I genuinely think everyone liked her because she didn't have competition for about 10 years. So she had every right to be quiet. She didn't have anybody that was really going against her. No real competition, or even if it's not competition, no real other co-companions in the female rap industry. But as soon as she got some competition and more female rappers were being recognized, I think people started to compare and contrast her, which to be real would make anybody feel uneasy. Huge fan bases from other artists, and that's what started the whole hate train. Comparing another woman to another woman with talent, appearance, influence, that would make anyone bitter. Be real. Not saying that Nicki Minaj is right for acting in the way that she does sometimes, but we all know the fans are usually the ones who start the beef and drama amongst artists and influencers. Anyway, let's be real. She's been with Kenneth for going on 2 years. We haven't heard anything about him cheating. We haven't heard anything about any infidelity, no financial issues that we know of. He's appeared in her music videos. He comes with her to events. She hasn't said anything bad about her marriage. To be honest, whether you like Nicki Minaj or not, I genuinely think she's happy with her marriage. It's already hard enough when people are telling you that your man is a bum and that you make more than him and you should leave him. But like I said, me personally, I'm always going to shoot for the hypergamous relationship, within it being stable mentally, financially, and romantically, not just the money part, because trust me, you won't be happy. And I think Nicki has been there and done that. She's dated men with more money than her. She's dated men with fame. She's dated men with similar careers. I think she just wanted someone who was low-key and normal, who understands her career and respects that and just lets her do her thing. Because to be honest, y'all, I couldn't date another YouTuber. I don't even want to date or be with anyone who does the same thing as me. I just can't stand it. And that's what I get from Kenneth. I think Nicki should remember that as a Trini woman, people expect her to be prideful in her culture, and people already don't like Kenneth like that. So of course there's some scrutiny, but this whole situation wasn't that serious to call out, and everyone watching would have done the same thing, especially to a stranger that you don't know. So that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. Do you agree? Do you not agree? And what were your initial thoughts when you guys saw the video? Was he wrong? Was he not wrong? Don't forget to follow me on all my social media networks, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.